Welcome to the Nevis newscast for Thursday, January 26th, 2023. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. As early as next month, airline service Cape Air will offer non-stop year-round daily flights between St. Thomas, USVI and Nevis. Premier Honorable Mark Brantley made the announcement on Thursday, January 26th, saying he is pleased.
Cape Air will once again be flying into the Nevis Airport, the Vance Amory Airport, effective February 15th. They will have non-stop connections to St. Thomas in the United States Virgin Islands, 1 flight a day during the week and 2 flights on Sundays. The daily flights will depart Nevis at 10:15 a.m. to St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, and incoming flights will depart St. Thomas at 5:15 p.m. to Nevis. Now, what is good about this is that Cape Air has interline and code share arrangements with American Airlines, Delta, JetBlue, and United. And so it means that if you purchase a ticket, you can fly via Cape Air to JetBlue, American, Delta, or United from St. Thomas to anywhere in the world that is accessible from the Cyril King Airport in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. So it creates another option for our people, whether they're coming in or going out, a seamless option to connect via the USVI. And because of the large number of flights going into the USVI, we are hopeful that we will see some traffic coming from that direction and onto Nevis. And equally, Nevisians traveling onwards can now use that route to get to the United States and elsewhere.
Premier of Nevis and Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Mark Brantley. The Honorable Alexis Jeffers has been appointed as a special advisor to the office of the Premier. That announcement was made by Premier, the Honorable Mark Brantley, on Thursday, January 26th.
It was the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, who also ran in the local election as a candidate in the parish of St. James, Nevis 4, and who now serves as a member, elected member for the constituency of Nevis 11, constituency St. Thomas and St. James. Mr. Jeffers is and has been appointed as a special advisor to the office of the Premier on investment matters, and he has been charged with delivering for us some of these major projects, principally the airport project, which I will get to shortly. He is the point person charged by this government to handle that project. He will report to my office and to the cabinet on progress with that project, and I want to commend the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. He has really hit the ground running. He has had a number of meetings with stakeholders already.
Meantime, Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, on Thursday, January 26th, gave an update on the expansion plans for the Vance W. Amory International Airport.
So we conceptualized a project which will extend the runway to accommodate most of the world's private jets, to reinforce that runway, since we now will have heavier traffic instruments, airplanes on that runway, to do something which really seems like a no-brainer, but it hasn't happened before, which is to provide jet fuel at the airport. That is a huge revenue earner. Currently, for example, when people do fly their jets into Nevis, they have to leave Nevis and go sometimes as far as Puerto Rico to get fuel. So we need to change that. We need parking.
As noted by Premier Brantley, all the parties involved will be invested in making the airport work.
Great as the idea may be, we all understand that we can't move unless we can find the resources, financial resources, to do the development. And so we started some conversations with a significant investor on the island, Mr. Patrick Drahi, and those conversations, he is the owner, we're told, of the largest private jet in the world. He has made Nevis home, and he has invested significantly on the island already. And so we started conversation with Mr. Drahi to try to forge a public-private partnership where he will bring the money to finance the infrastructural improvements that we want to do at the Vance Amory Airport. And the negotiations thus far contemplate that what we will do is rather than that becoming a burden on the taxpayer to repay, we will seek to work together to enhance operations at the airport and to make that airport a revenue center, a revenue stream, and what we will pay back those sums at a nominal interest rate of 2%. We'll pay back those sums from the proceeds of the airport itself. We had yesterday a meeting of the representative for Mr. Drahi. We had a meeting, also at that meeting were the engineers and consultants, Perez Consulting, whom we have been working with for some time. Perez would have done the Argyle International Airport in St. Vincent. And we had at the table as well proposed contractors for the project, Kelly Construction, who have just completed the build-out of the runway in Barbuda and who have had airport experience all around the world.
Premier Brantley also noted that the project will necessitate some land acquisition.
It will necessitate some land acquisition. It will necessitate moving some persons to allow the airport expansion to occur. We propose to do this in an open and forthright way. We propose, when the time comes, as this government always does, to have public consultations where we come to the public in the usual town hall setting to explain what we are going to do in detail and to get the feedback from members of the public.
The Honourable Mac Brantley gave the update at the Premier's press conference on Thursday, January 26th. Still to come, women in Nevis offered free cervical cancer screening. The details after this break.
Taxes are the lifeblood of a nation. Feel good about what your tax dollars do in Nevis. As a responsible citizen, your tax dollars protect our environment. Pay your taxes on time. This message was brought to you by the Inland Revenue Department, Nevis.
Be a responsible citizen.
Welcome back. As part of its annual observance of Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, Community Health Nursing Services will offer free pap smears to women in Nevis. The goal of screening for cervical cancer is to find precancerous cervical cell changes when treatment can prevent cervical cancer from developing. Cervical cancer found at an early stage is usually easier to treat. The cervical cancer screening will be offered at the 6 health centers on Nevis from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday, January 28th. For more information, visit or contact a health center in your community. On Tuesday, January 24th, a ceremony was held to award Onaje Amri and Latasha Isles as the Ministry and Department of Sports 2022 Man and Woman of the Year, respectively. The awards were presented by Deputy Premier and former Minister of Sports, the Honorable Eric Evelyn.
I am extra happy that she is the Sportswoman of the Year this year. Reason being, she is being recognized as a netballer. And I am proud, and I've said it many times, and I'm going to say it again, that it was under my tenure, and of course we know that a number of our young cricketers shone very brightly last year and the year before. And Mr. Amri is one of those gems who stood out and stood tall. He's tall, but he stood tall in representing the island of Nevis and the West Indies and the Leeward Islands over the years as a young cricketer. And so, Mr. Amri, you know I'm very proud of you. So I want to congratulate you.
Minister of Sports, the Honorable Troy Liburd, also congratulated the awardees.
I'm very, very happy to be a part of this. Latasha Isles, congratulations to you as Sports Woman of the Year. And we know that you have been involved in sports and more particularly netball for many, many years. And it's very good to see that you are still at the top of your craft. And I'm hoping that this is a craft that you will be passing on to some of the younger ones coming up in netball, as we are definitely seeking to revive netball to the type of prominence that it would have had in Nevis. And I think all of Nevis should be familiar with Onaje, and if you're not familiar yet, I'm hoping that sometime in the near future that you would all be familiar with him, because he is someone who is a budding superstar. As you would have heard, he has played for West Indies at the youth level, and I want to look at you and look at me, and I want to tell you that we are hoping, and we certainly have the expectation that sometime in the not too distant future that you will be playing for West Indies at the senior level.
Director of the Department of Sports, January Claxton, described the awardees as role models for other young persons in Nevis. And that's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Thank you for viewing.